Hey, sports fans, Coach Nick here, and welcome to the B-Ball Breakdown live show coming at you, as always, on a Monday, midday on the West Coast, and as always, joined by Andrew Combo Salop to discuss the latest and the greatest in the NBA. Combo, what's happening, my man?
All is well. I hope everybody had a great Turkey Day. The B-Ball Breakdown Nation was going at my neck for my offensive rating take, but it's all good. I'm still here.
Uh-oh. Well, here's my other problem. I'm monitoring the live stream on the YouTube side, and it looks like it's black and nothing is there. So is anybody in the comments, can they see this? Is this working? There's no comments either. So I wonder if we're even going live. There's some weird thing.
We might just be having a conversation like we're on the phone or something.
Yeah, right. But, I see people are there, but I'm monitoring. You can all see us and hear us. Is that right, Franco? Because on my back end, it's blank. Let me refresh this page. Maybe it will get happy. And it's spinning. It is working. Perfect. Anyway, well, let's get into it then. While we're there, it is. Now I see it. Fantastic. Let me drag this over here. All right. Did you have a good Thanksgiving, Combo?
It was great. It was great. Had some good food. Hung out with family. Worked out. Played some basketball. Maybe not on that exact day. Definitely worked out on that day, but played some basketball yesterday. Everything's good. Everything's good. All
right. Terrific. Well, I am in a quandary. I have a terrible back pain. Cannot get out of it. It's been that way for weeks. And I only hope I can kind of move around sooner than later where it doesn't hurt. I'm not yelling. But anyhow.
That sucks. How was your Turkey Day besides that?
Yeah, it was great. Had some family in town. Really great turkey. Underrated. Like, don't be afraid to have a supermarket make your turkey. Just saying. We did that on a nicer supermarket here, and it was done to perfection. Why screw around, right?
Wow. Okay. I guess conventional wisdom would say not to do that, but hey, we're all about going against conventional wisdom on the B-Ball Breakdown live show.
Conventional. I mean, when you got 25 people coming over, and the mother-in-law, she's getting up there. It's that's a slave, thing to have to do over, a day to cook. So we were all okay with it. And by the way, after we tasted it, it was like, yes, please, get it done right. That said, let's talk
as long as it was good.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about some other teams getting it done right as a segue. Let's talk about the Rockets. I think low key under the radar. No one's really talking about them, but they have a very good record at the moment. And no one probably even has paid attention to this. Have you?
They're number 2 in the West.
Number 2 in the West, 15-6, coming off a big win at home against the Thunder yesterday. It was an intense game. They had, who would you guess on the Rockets would end up getting in the middle of a fracas on the court?
Yeah, the guy who plays for the Canadian national team.
That is him. Yeah, it's Dillon Brooks. And don't be fooled by the fact that his name is Dylan, in case you're thinking of maybe Bob Dylan, and then there's his Peacenik or something. He spells it differently, and he plays differently.
When he signed for $80 million, everybody was saying that was too much. Not me though, but everybody was saying that was too much. And I think he's actually probably overplaying that contract at this point, just for his value for this specific team.
Well, that was a 4-year contract for $20 million each, right? Around that.
Mm-hmm. Something to that effect. I remember it was 80. I don't remember the years.
I think that's probably what it was. So if it was $20 million a year and you get a very serviceable starter, that's a pretty good deal in today's NBA.
Yeah, I think he's just more than a serviceable starter, just from the mentality he brings to that team, because he brings something that no one else brings on that club.
For sure. And the funny thing was, it's almost by reputation. He got the loose ball, kind of grabbed the rebound. So did Shea, and then there's another player somewhere in the area. And, they were just kind of fighting. Shea ends up getting horizontal. It was hilarious. I don't know. He's probably so light that he's horizontal. Dillon Brooks has got both hands on the ball. And then it became a tussle without really becoming a tussle. It wasn't a tussle. No one got thrown out, no tees or anything like that on the review. But a lot of people standing around looking pretty intense, which, lets you know that they were in it to win it in an early December game, which is kind of nice. And perhaps maybe it's even the in-season tournament, which has upped the ante, right? We've seen a lot more in November. We've seen a lot more intense games because of the tournament, and the players are naturally competitive. It might have spilled over into this as a statement game, I suppose. And the Rockets pulled it out. If you watch down the stretch, you'd see some incredible shot making from Mr. Fred VanVleet, friend of the breakdown, and a guy that they were probably hoping would get to this point where he could be that effective since they signed him.
Yeah, I mean, when you drop 38, that's always a good thing. Everybody was complaining about the midseason tournament last year, and look what we have now. Like, it's helping. I think that's actually going to happen with the All-Star game. Everybody's complaining about the new All-Star format, but I do think people will actually play a little bit harder with this format.
Remind me what the format is again.
It's 4 teams, and it's more like a pickup style now.
Oh, right. Hey, listen, to quote the immortal War Games movie, I'd piss on a spark plug if I thought that would help. And if this helps, then great, let's do it. I'm all open for any other suggestions based on considering what we've had in the past in the last few years. Who was complaining about the tournament last year and why?
A lot of people. A lot of people. And I mean, I think it was even more before it started because they just weren't used to it. It was something new, you know? They're like, what's the point of this? We don't know what it is. Right. Even the players had no idea what was really going on when they were being asked about it. But yeah, there was complaint. Look, actually, this season has the most NBA complaints I've ever seen in my life. Like with the three-point shooting stuff, the analytics, with the All-Star game, with the injuries, which that's warranted. Nobody wants to see anybody get injured, and that's not good for the game. But it's just a lot of NBA complaining this season.
Interesting. Well, by the way, Lucas has a good point. The all smiles fight, which is what that was.
Yeah.
Dylan Brooks is laughing from the beginning because I think it's a reputation. As soon as he's involved in any kind of a quick rip through move, everyone's like surrounding them, and perhaps rightfully so based on his reputation. But yeah, I think the complaining. I mean, if memory serves, we got some epic games last year during that tournament. That's what we wanted. That was the successful part of the whole thing. We have players had no idea how the rules worked because remember how you'd see guys trying to score at the very end of a game that was decided because the point differential is important.
That's still happening this year, actually.
Yeah, and as it should. You got to rack up as many points as possible and like screw this gentleman's agreement thing, whatever. You play to the whistle, and so I like to see all that stuff. I mean, listen, if you're not in that situation and it's a regular season game and you're up by 12. There is a little thing about stat padding there, right, which you kind of want to avoid. But we've seen it where the guy tries to dribble out and be a gentleman, and then someone sneaks up behind and steals it for like a layup or whatever. All right, so there's a little bit dicey issue there, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. There's sportsmanship is part of the game, but in Europe, this has been like this forever. I remember when I first went overseas and I was watching somebody else play, and they were full court pressing, and they were up 20, and I was like, "What's going on?" And then I learned about point differential, which is not even in their cup games, which actually the cup idea comes from over there, but in just the regular season, because that could be the difference when going into the playoffs at the end of the season. So I'm kind of used to that, but it's interesting to see it in the NBA. And who doesn't want two teams playing hard throughout the end of the game? I think it's good.
Yeah. Now, how about this? I started digging into the stats and the analytics about the Rockets to figure out how the heck they're doing this because they've got some quality wins across some good teams. And they're competitive. Now, obviously, if you have a team, well, let's get to the offense first. They're 16th in offensive rating, which is extremely mediocre. Perhaps I'm not that surprised. You dig into what they're shooting from three, and the only good news about the three-point shooting, because the percentage is low, is that they don't take a lot. So, they understand their limitations, and let's not do what we're not really good at. But that's going to be a real problem. That said, obviously, they're number 2 on defense. And when you have Thompson, you have Brooks, you have Jabari Smith, you got 3 guys like that, you're going to probably be a pretty good defensive team. At the point of attack, you'll be able to keep you guys in front. There's physicality there. There's length. So that helps them cover up some deficiencies. Like, Fred VanVleet's going to compete. But size-wise, he's going to have a deficit there. Jalen Green probably becomes the big X factor there on both sides of the ball.
Jalen Green's been better defensively, and with Amen Thompson and Tari Eason, those two have been a dynamic duo on defense, and that's really helped them on the defensive side. Another interesting thing is that they're not going that deep. They didn't go that deep last night. I mean, Reed had 10 minutes off the bench. Steven Adams had 4, and then besides that, it's 7 guys. So that's really interesting. I also like the vibes with the Rockets. Obviously, winning leads to good vibes, but when you have this many young players trying to solidify themselves in the NBA and getting them all to play together and all play winning basketball, I mean, Ime Udoka might be the real MVP of this team.
I would be surprised if any team that Ime was coaching would have bad vibes in theory. But yeah, for sure, there's a grittiness, a toughness there. Because Brooks could be the kind of guy that would feed into bad habits and sort of some negative mental approaches to the game. But instead, they're kind of channeling that a lot better, and he's bringing what he needs to bring as well. So.
But he's never been that. He's never been that even with Memphis. Sorry to cut you off. He's never been that even with Memphis, right? Even in college.
Yeah. Well, I agree. I mean, I think that they're in the wrong hands, in the wrong environment. That could be a distraction. But here they're channeling it really well, and obviously they're going to need to, because if you shoot threes that poorly, I really don't. I think there's a ceiling on this team. I hate to say it, because I love the way Şengün plays. I love the way Fred VanVleet plays. They have good pieces. They all are, working well together. But the top teams are going to score and hit 12 threes against them. And if they can't make 8 to stay, alongside them a little bit, I don't think they're going to win it. How are you going to win a series that way?
Trade some young depth for Zach LaVine.
Ooh, okay. So Eason and somebody.
I don't know, but they got a lot of young players.
Yeah,
I mean, they're a team that's coming up in the trade zeitgeist because they might be another. I've actually heard Jimmy Butler linked to them, but that doesn't help the 3-point problem at all.
Yeah, Jimmy Butler's value, if I was another GM, would be low.
I think he can help. He can help the Warriors.
Yeah, I just wouldn't want to risk him breaking down. He's hurt again. The knee is a problem. As it always is, it seems, and so I don't think it's worth it, because you put your hopes in that, and then they can get dashed. So now LaVine is a guy who I'm actually curious about, and probably would fit in well with pretty much any team who needs any kind of scoring from the backcourt. I don't know what that trade package would be, only because they would need to send out a bigger some amount of cash, to match LaVine's contract. That's going to be tough for anybody to do. But you're thinking that LaVine could also go to the Warriors? No,
not the Warriors. I think Jimmy could possibly go to the Warriors.
I would tell them not to do that.
And then Bam's another. I mean, the Heat fans are really upset with Bam right now, even though he had 20 rebounds last night. On. Yeah, they're just saying we pay this, he makes this much money and he's basically playing like Draymond. That's what the Heat fans are saying right now. That's what's going on within the Twitter Heat zeitgeist, if you will.
Sure. Well, I got to tell you, I love Bam, and his high post passing and his abilities in that area works really well when they're functioning well, but he's just never really taken the next step offensively, right? His post game has never really improved. His mid-range, I thought there was a moment there where he could be really good in that mid-range. I think it's sort of up and down there. So, yeah, it's a bit of a problem. I wonder how he's training, what he's doing to improve, why it's not, especially in a place like Miami where that's supposed to develop. It's not happening. So that'll be an interesting dive in to see what's going on there. But they've been sort of, I feel like, I guess we could say talent deficited for
100%. 100%. And, he's never gotten better at really the 3-point shot, even though he shot some more of them towards the end of last season. And he's never gotten better at attacking closeouts for some reason, even though he's a smaller big with bigger bigs guarding him. And then sometimes he doesn't even look at the basket.
Yeah.
When he's open. So, but he is a very, 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 very good player, as we saw in the Olympics. Man, that guy's a good basketball player.
Right. And defensively, he can be a lot like Draymond Green at his height. So that's another important thing that you want to.
Yeah. And he's a good passer like Draymond. He's a good passer.
Yeah. Is he? I don't know. Is he as good? I don't think he's as good, but he's good.
He's pretty good at passing. No, Draymond's a little bit better of an engine on offense.
Yeah, but then again, Draymond will throw passes that you're like, what are you thinking? Right. And every once in a while, those ones get through. But a lot of times you're like that they turn into terrible turnovers. But maybe that's why he gets the good ones to get through. But yeah, sometimes you might want to have 80% of Draymond's passing ability and then not turn it over as much.
Well, and Draymond's defensive IQ is so elite. Not saying Bam is a dumb defender by any means, but just Draymond is an all-timer when it comes to that side of the floor. So
yeah. But Bam is in that discussion to some degree defensively too.
I put Draymond with Scottie Pippen, Draymond, and then that's it with that kind of level of defense.
Well, you got throw Bill Russell in there, I suppose.
I meant more. Yeah, definitely.
But he didn't have to go out in the perimeter.
Right. It was just a totally different game back then.
Right. Fair enough. Now, don't forget, if you want your question answered, the best way to do that is to super chat us on the YouTube side. It'll help us keep the lights going, keep the lights on, and the show going. And we give you lots of hype and love, and thank you. So don't forget to do that if you can. And let's talk a little bit about. So here's the thing about the Rockets and the OKC, which I'm trying to do a breakdown right now. Hopefully you'll watch it because I think the Rockets do deserve some hype. The thing though with the offense that concerns me is like if you go through the out of timeout plays, which is generally where you get the most influence from the coach drawing up a play coming in. There's a reason why they're not better than average on offense, and like their offense is just not very clever. Just a lot of sort of straight high pick and roll, Şengün and Fred VanVleet, maybe a Spain in there. They'll throw another defender, another screener for the ball screener. A little bit of zoom, a little bit of handoffs on the wing stuff, but nothing really crazy. The spacing isn't great. They don't have good shooters, so spacing is going to suffer that way. So that's the only issue I think I have with that. And it might be a knock on Ime is that their offense isn't clever enough and needs to get better at that.
You think it's Ime or you think it's the personnel?
So you think that Ime is like, you know what? We don't have a lot of shooting. Here's what we got. We got to kind of pare it down and keep it simple. I don't know. I would like to see a little bit clever.
As much as I like, Amen Thompson and Tari Eason and a lot of these players, well, Reed Sheppard's a guy who could really shoot it, but he's not getting a lot of playing time. But they have a lot of guys that don't shoot it at a high level. They're just not a great shooting team. Sometimes you got to play to your strengths.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, yeah. And but they're okay. So the question is there a version of this that they could be better than 16th on offensive rating with who they have?
Are we going to get into another offensive rating conversation? Because I'm going to have to start commenting to the commenters.
Yeah.
On YouTube.
Well, we're all here to progress and grow. And so, but it's an interesting question in the sense that, if you have to accept the premise that they're not a good 3-point shooting team, period, then yeah, maybe you have a lot less options in terms of you don't get the spacing, and then from there you don't get the cutting, and you don't get the movement. Like they all kind of fall in line. So yeah, they need to trade for a shooter. That's what they have to do.
I agree. They definitely a movement shooter like a Duncan Robinson type player would be very good for them.
You're talking, and he's probably available. I mean, I wonder what the Heat want to do. Do they want to break this whole thing up?
Well, there's two options they could go. They could try and double down and maximize the Bam, Jimmy Butler era by maybe bringing in like a Vucevic from the Bulls or somebody that could, because the Bulls are going to make a trade. I mean, right. Somebody's going to be traded from the Bulls, or they could go the other way with the Warriors and try and get like Kuminga and Moody, right, and try and get younger and go the other way and try and rebuild. They never like going in like full rebuild mode though, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Or they just stay put, but you're right. They're at a talent deficit for sure.
Yeah, and the Heat probably just need to do something drastic. It's been too many years, and I think it's the sort of the Jimmy Butler experience. Now, that said, it got them to 2 finals, so you cannot diminish at all that impact. Yeah. But you also have these notions where Butler couldn't compete in the finals. He was broken down by the time he got there. And that's tough. It's tough to get that close and get that, that deep in the playoffs. And then, just sort of know that you're probably not going to win because of that. We were both sitting there scratching our heads, right, when in the last finals of the Heat, when we're like, what version of Jimmy is this? Because this is not what he looked like in the second round. He
hurt his ankle against the Knicks, I remember. And
yeah.
It was never the same.
He was beat up generally as well. I mean, that's how he plays that way. So, and then are they happy? Are the Rockets happy to find they're on a trajectory? They'll get into the playoffs. They'll have probably a decent seed. Maybe they win the first round, and that's the beginning of the experience that they need, aside from a Fred VanVleet to continue, and even Brooks to develop, into that deep playoff team for next year or something like that. Is that a fair timeline for them?
Tell me more.
Basically just let them kind of do what they're going to do this year. Yeah. Maybe if they're lucky, get the second round. And then, next year, that experience will help, and then they can maybe pick somebody up.
I think that's the right move. Let's
talk about Reed Sheppard for a second, because I would like a pat in the back.
Why?
So remember how high everybody was on him in the summer league?
Yeah. I mean, he's not on the wrong team. He's on the wrong team.
Okay. So, we were talking about this. And remember, I went through the footage and you were kind of really surprised because I was like, I do see some of the mid-range pull-up stuff, and you can find this live show. We talked about this. I saw some of that, but what I did see a lot more of was a guy who wasn't used to the length and the speed and the athletic ability of, the pros he was playing against in summer league, which gave me, a little bit of pause. Like, I don't know about this. And everyone was like, oh, he's really good. He's going to play. He's going to do this thing. He can't find minutes. And when he does, he's really struggling to score and shoot well. And it looks the same kind of reason. Now, that could change very quickly, right? Players like that can get adjusted and get acclimated, and then suddenly they start making more shots. We've seen guys like Caruso have this trajectory where it took him.
Well, he's more offensively talented than Caruso. He's nowhere near the defensive player Caruso is. But yeah, okay. I see what you're saying.
We did see Caruso really struggle anyway, where he doesn't struggle now. Like, he just had to get adjusted. So either way, the point was, it's like, this is what I was seeing. Like, no one wanted to listen to me. I had a video I was going to do. I didn't finish or whatever, but that's why we got to be careful.
What would the video be about? It
would have been about showing how Sheppard wasn't ready.
Oh, wow. A whole video on that?
Well, that's what it was going to be like, remember that was the only storyline we really had out of the summer league, is on my recollection, right? It wasn't a lot coming out of that summer league, right?
Yeah, it's an interesting rookie class. I mean, it feels like rookie of the year could either be like Dalton Connect or Jared McCain, who's probably going to get less minutes now. There's somebody else in the mix that I'm missing, actually. But yeah.
And Stephen.
Yeah, he's really good. Yeah, him too. Yeah.
It's a fun rookie class all of a sudden.
I think he's just not on the right team. There's just so many young players. I think if he was like at a different club, he would get more opportunity and do really good. He's a really good shooter. He's really skilled. He's probably a better athlete than most people think.
I know. All right, he's a point guard. He'd play point guard behind Fred VanVleet, right?
Shot 50% in college from three.
Right. Well, like, who else is getting? Actually, they have listed as shooting guard. That's interesting.
I've actually out of college.
Love him. I don't know.
Out of college, I wasn't even as high on him as everybody else. But then once I saw him in summer league, I'm like, okay, now I see it.
Yeah. Well, I'm seeing exactly what I saw. And so it won't be this year for him. It'll have to be, he'll need, I don't know if it's necessarily, he's getting a solid 12 minutes a game. He's playing most of the games. I just think he needs to go through this and then eventually, and we'll see if he can get to that next level. I'm not sure.
What was Nash's first few years like?
Oh, Nash is much better than this
rookie season.
Let's check real quick. In Phoenix, yeah, he came in and let me look here. Steve Nash's rookie year in Phoenix. Oh, you are right. Forgive me. He was playing 10.5 minutes per game. That's so weird. I totally have a different memory of that, but he only played, he scored 3 games. So that was right. He actually, I think it was when he made his jump, it was after he played in the Olympics in 2000.
Now I'm not saying he'll be Nash, but I think he's going to be really good. And I think sometimes when you don't pass the eye test, like, this could happen to you. I think this happened with Jeremy Lin. Not saying he's as good as Steve Nash, obviously not. He might not even be as good as Reed Sheppard. But I think when some guys don't pass the eye test, they don't get the opportunity maybe they should in the beginning, and then they ended up getting the opportunity and showing what they could do. I think he could really play. Like, I watched him play. Like, he could really play. Like, super skillful, underrated athlete, and I think he makes good decisions, and he's an efficient shooter. So,
well, that was not enough. I didn't see enough evidence of that, like in the summer league, which is to me was the indicator.
Did you watch every game of the summer league?
Well, my memory now is I watched every possession of his where that ended with him as an assist or a turnover or a score or a shot, which is something. I don't know if I went through the entire games on him. I don't think I did. I think I just went through his stuff, which I think is important. When you watch 200 clips of a guy, you get a good sense of what he can and can't do.
I liked him. I thought he was pretty good, and I just think he's not on the right club.
All right, and that all could come true. But the point that I was making was that it looked apparent to me that this was what was going to happen. We got our first super chat though from Braun. Thank you so much, Braun, best friend of the breakdown. Always great to see you out there in Canada. Is IHart a better player than Gobert? This is like you know what a softball is.
Oh wait, one thing though, I am not. In the comment section, they said I'm sleeping on Matas Buzelis. That was my favorite rookie coming out, he's just not getting opportunity either. Another guy, but go ahead, Coach Nick.
I think they'll ramp him up. I think, as this season, although, the Bulls are having a weird season where they're 10th, I think, in the conference right now. And but the East is kind of a weird East this year. But yeah, I suspect he'll still continue to ramp up a little bit more.
Yeah, he's good. He got great two-way feel, super athletic. Just needs to get the shooting better, but he's really good. But go ahead, Coach Nick.
Okay, so let's talk about IHart versus Gobert. You know what a softball is? A softball question.
So you're saying IHart's way better than Gobert?
Well, I just think that Braun must know the show pretty well. So
I mean,
yeah, listen, IHart. Let's get into that now because he just came back to play for the Thunder, and I gotta tell you, I mean, this is the biggest, best impact we're going to see from a new player on a new team this season, as far as I can tell. I can't think of, Bridges is not having the same impact as we thought he was or would have had. So IHart is
dropped 30 last night though.
Opens the floor. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I love IHart. I really liked his game since I saw him in Summer League. Speaking of Summer League with the Houston Rockets, I thought this guy was like a definite NBA starting center since then. And he's been great, and he's been filling in really well. Mikal Bridges did have 30 last night, though, or 30-something, to your point. But it's been up and down, though.
Knicks fans are ready to light him on fire. It's pretty crazy.
Oh, what'd you say? Say that again?
Knicks fans are like ready to light Mikal Bridges on fire and be like, let's get him on.
I mean, he is the X factor. He has to play better for them to win it all. But IHart is a better basketball player than Gobert. But Gobert has been like the second or third best player on really good teams in the past, right? With those Utah Jazz teams, even with Minnesota, what was he, their third guy? You would say
Gobert,
in terms of being a basketball player.
Okay,
So I mean, like Gobert does raise the floor of your team, but I like the way IHart plays basketball way better than Gobert, me personally.
Right, and by the way, IHart can make as many plays as Gobert on defense. Like I don't even think.
He might be better on the perimeter switching out. Yeah.
We got that, and he can block shots. He gets tough rebounds. He's tough.
He's good.
He's very good. Charges. He's really, really good on that end as well. Yeah. And then you throw in the passing. He had a couple passes in the other game I was watching before the Rockets game that were just amazing from the high post. So here's what's exciting about this is imagine if you get him out there alongside Chet, and then you get Caruso out there as well defensively. Already, so Steph Noah, one of our friend of the breakdown, you know Steph, right?
Which Steph?
NOH. He's a writer out there. He's writing for. He did something for the.
Does the Warriors?
No, well, I think he used to do Warrior stuff, and now he's doing sporting news. He wrote an article I just saw about the Thunder's defense being really dominant, and I started thinking, well, yes, it is. And then imagine when they could get healthy and get Chet, IHart, and Caruso out there, and then you throw whoever else you want because pretty much everyone else is really solid to great defensively on those wings in the guards position. So the Thunder are going to be suffocating, which is going to be a problem again because they can also shoot threes. So if they go up against the Rockets, I don't know, they're going to need to be able to manufacture some threes, and right now they don't have it.
Who do you think wins in a 7-game series, even though we probably might not see this? OKC or the Cleveland Cavaliers?
That would be wow. What would the ratings be, by the way, for that finals?
I would like it, but I don't think the ratings would be high because it's two small markets and stars that the casual fan doesn't know about. But I would like it.
Exactly. I mean, those are the small markets that don't capture the imagination as much as. Well, now I'm trying to think about what are the small markets that do well.
Cleveland when LeBron was there.
yeah, I suppose. So who would win between OKC and Cleveland? Okay, and so we're taking Cleveland, maybe their performance yesterday too. And by the way, like that performance by Donovan Mitchell down the stretch, and speaking about Rudy being a part of those good teams and stuff. Well, Mitchell was the best player on some absolutely terrific Jazz teams alongside Rudy. That were number one in the Western Conference in the middle of a Western Conference that was brutal. So here you have a guy that probably got some bad hype for no reason because the guy is a legitimate assassin. I don't know if you saw it. Some of those threes he hit down the stretch.
Yeah. He had 20. He had 20 in the fourth, I think.
Yeah. And not only were they were tough shots, but they were crucial. Like they needed every point to kind of keep even or keep up with the Celtics, who were, again, the only problem with that is that the Celtics were down 2 starters. So if you throw Derek White and Jaylen Brown out there, I don't think that the Cavs come within 10 points of them. And that was on the road that the Celtics were right there and almost stole it from them. So that's an interesting thing. So I would go with OKC, no question. I'd probably go OKC in 6 if that was the finals. And it would be fun But I don't know. I don't know how. I think that the Thunder's defense is so suffocating. Now, on the flip side, the Cavs defense is very good, but they don't suffocate you. They don't get to loose balls like the Thunder do. It's really it's harkens back to when the Thunder had Russ and KD and all the other guys that were long and quick and explosive.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I also think that OKC has the best player on the court. So yeah, I mean.
Right, that too.
Yeah.
By the way, don't sleep on Steven Adams. You mentioned him a little bit while ago.
He didn't get a lot of burn. He didn't get a lot of burn.
No, he got like 3 minutes, but it was like a +5 in the 3 minutes. Like he's going to do well in giving them. So watch for them to ramp him up. They might be trying to protect him going into the playoffs and that kind of thing. But watch for him to come in and really have big impacts in those games. And again, defensively too, they'll continue to improve if he gets more minutes. Thompson's jump shot is broken. And I'd seen them training, a couple of years ago, and it was really frightening. So they need to figure that out and figure out how to improve their rhythm and alignment, all those different things. He needs to be that guy that can hit 34 or 5% of his threes.
You're talking about Amen Thompson?
Yeah.
Oh, we just segued to the Rockets again?
I don't know. I mentioned Steven Adams, so I went back there. And
okay.
Yeah. Right, super chat, though.
Both brothers need to become better shooters for sure.
Yeah. Well, they will work together. That's the problem. Sorry, Mike, but anyway. Bangs Edit. Thank you so much for the super chat. Really appreciate it. This seems like this might be the first super chat we've ever gotten from Bangs Edit, which is really exciting. So welcome
to Bangs Edit. Yeah.
Thank you. And it looks like Patrick Swayze, but it's probably that's probably Hayden Christensen in the game, perhaps. The original Darth Vader. What's his name? Help me. You don't know, do you?
I don't know.
Skywalker, okay. Luke's father. God darn it all to hell. Why can I remember? I cannot remember Luke Skywalker's father's name. This is I am okay. When I end up in an old folks home without having dementia, this is the time you'll say that you knew it was happening. Come on. You know what I keep saying? I keep saying Jor-El, who is the father of Superman, but it's all right.
I'm sure this is great for YouTube video retention, right?
Oh, absolutely. Well, a little bit more. Okay. Skywalker, thank you so much, Bangs. I can't even believe it. So, anyway, thank you so much. Here he is. Here's the question: did you have the Hawks winning East Group C on your bingo card with the Cavs and Celtics in the same group? No, not at all. And the Hawks are it's a conundrum. I can't quite seem to figure them out. I need to kind of do a deep dive. Have you watched a lot of Hawks this year?
Not a lot, but I've always liked Jalen Johnson's game. I said back then that I thought he would be an all-rookie player if he got opportunity. Kind of like to my Reed Sheppard point, but we're going to stay away from that right now. We're going to move on.
Yeah.
But Zach has been contributing on defense as well. They're rookie. And Trey has been playing great with him and Jalen Johnson initiating some offense. And, man, they're a tough team. I mean, Trey is just super talented. There's no denying it. What he could do at that size.
And then Tyson Daniels is just demolishing offense himself. So he needs a lot of
yes,
for sure.
Yeah.
So it's hard to understand. Is it the courts and the colors, and it somehow inspires them to play that much better than they normally do? If you're looking at the in the standings right now, the Hawks are 10-11 in 7th place, which is wouldn't normally you'd think be that high, but the Eastern Conference is a weird place right now where it's kind of top heavy, and the other teams are sort of bunched up around that 500 mark or a little bit below. So for instance, if you were 10-11 in the West, you would be let's see, what is that? 10-11 is 476. You'd be 11th. You'd be out of the playoff picture. So that's interesting. But I did not have that, especially with the Cavs and Celtics playing the way as well as they have. The last time we had teams that were 17-2 and 16-3 go at each other. That wasn't. You don't often get that, and that's probably the reason why we're seeing some of the ratings go down, is because on any given night, we talk about this every show. On any given night, you got 2 teams that are bad playing each other, and you don't really want to watch it. They can't seem to find enough ways to get these matchups and more consistently across the week.
I mean, that could be a point, but aren't the ratings also down on the marquee matchups, like the TNT, ESPN games?
I don't even know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, so what we're thinking they're down on Wizards versus
Yeah.
You know, Pistons are actually better this year, but like a game like that, they're down on, or they're
yeah,
down on the.
you'll see like Wizards, Hornets. That's not the.
Well, LaMelo's must-watch TV, so
Yeah,
that's cool.
he didn't play though, right? In the last game I watched.
Yeah.
Yeah. But LaMelo was fun. He's doing the one-legged threes, which has been my obsession. If you haven't, followed for years now, but he does a weird sort of step back one-legged three where it starts on both feet, but then kind of hikes up the one as he jumps. It's really a weird. I actually I have it down my thing when they're in town to go interview him. Hopefully, I'll grab him and talk to him.
Yeah, I love the one-legged shot. Most of my shots on Instagram, I feel like, are off one leg. But Brunson actually does. Yeah, we've talked about this a bunch. Like, I feel like the one leg will turn into what the step back was like 5 years ago when everybody was doing it. I think that's what the one leg becomes. But actually, Brunson does some of that in the mid range. He kind of like he steps back and then goes one leg. But it's different when you do it from that deep, like LaMelo did it.
For sure. And like what I liked about the one-legged would be you're going like toward the basket, you have forward momentum.
Yeah.
So
nice.
the one-legged going back is just it kind of goes against the reason why I love it so much. But I'll take it. Whatever one wants to do a one-legged shot, I'll take it. I will. I don't know if I'm going to take credit for all of them, but certainly the movement has been slowly and steadily taking charge. And someone had to start it. I kind of think it was me back in 2016. I got to go find that video with Austin. Oh, who's the influencer? Austin Mills. You know that guy?
Heard of him?
I think he's still around, but we did one collab at one point, and we were talking all about that. And then I got one with Devin Williams as well. So D-Rock, thank you so much, D-Rock. I think another rookie first time super chatter. Thank you so much for the super chat. Really appreciate it. They ask, give me 3 teams that should trade for Claxton. Ooh.
Heat, Warriors.
Who needs a shop?
Oh, the Knicks, but they won't do another trade, will they? Because Mitch needs to
do that.
Mitch needs an insurance policy. They need an insurance policy for Mitch because we don't know what he's going to be like.
Right. Well, they would probably trade for Mitch, wouldn't they? Wouldn't that be the trade?
Maybe, yeah.
And that'd be weird. I mean, I guess if the Nets just kind of want to tank. But let's see. I mean, the Knicks. Put them on the list. Although I don't think that they're gonna. I mean, I feel like the Bridges trade, right, was that way from the Nets to the Knicks.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe there's a thawing out there. Who else needs a big man that can come off the bench, energy, rebounds, block shots, not a huge threat on offense? I don't know. How much value would there be for
he would be good with the Mavericks.
They already don't they already have between Lively and Gafford, aren't they already covered?
Oh, he's even bigger than them. He could play like the straight 5. Yeah.
Like the Warriors, no.
Why not the Warriors? They need big man depth.
Okay. I guess. I mean, is he not enough of an offensive presence?
You're saying not enough read and react?
Yeah, although maybe he could kind of fit into that. Not the Magic, I don't think. No, I wasn't feeling that so much. Suns. You know what? What about the Suns? What about like upgrading Nurkic? What do you think?
I like Nurkic. No, I mean, from a read and react perspective and passing perspective, Nurkic is better. But if you want like a rim protector, obviously, and energy, Claxton's better. Yeah,
that's true. Nurkic's defense, I feel like, is when I last went through it like a week or two ago, was not good. Okay. Anybody else?
Katie cleans up some of that, especially in the playoffs. He's really underrated defensively.
You don't want to have him do that because he's older and he needs all the energy he can get.
He needs to play defense for them to win a championship for sure.
Yeah. But you know what? Claxton does have some value out there. I'm sure people would want to be able to plug him in.
Yeah, definitely.
I imagine let me look at his salary. I'm sure it's pretty low. Yeah, he's making under $10 million a year. For a guy that can give you 18, 20 minutes or so. That's
Sixers back up big.
Sixers back up big.
Or even start now with Joel Embiid in and out.
Wait, isn't that where? They're starting. Drummond, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, and really to Drummond. No offense to Drummond, but yeah. So yeah, there are lots of places, I suppose, and so we'll have to see if they're going to do a fire sale there and start. Like, is Cam Thomas on the market? Like, are they going to let him?
Yeah, I think he is. I don't think anybody's untouchable on that team.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's an interesting question. All right. What else are we going to talk about then today?
I don't know.
I'm trying to remember what else we talked about before when we were getting ready. I mean, we're getting kind of close to to the end of this show, this very lively show. What else happened? The Will Hardy timeout. Okay, we can talk about
wait. James Harden has been looking like vintage James Harden because of the situation he's in. Perfect situation.
Yeah. Well, he's been in that situation for a while now, and so all of a sudden he's kind of coming into Harden, or is it just like a?
Oh no, I think last year was different. Obviously, he had PG and Kawhi playing. Kawhi actually played a good amount of the regular season last year, right?
Well, I'm actually saying this year, earlier this year, Harden was not the guy that he is now. Is this the natural up and down notion of him at the end of his career, or is
no? I'm saying overall this season he's been better than he's been in a while for the whole. Like if you put the whole season in it.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I watched some of the games. I thought he wasn't there, but certainly now, I mean, he's up to 22 points a game. He's still shooting under 39% from the field and under 35 from three on the high volume. So, but I would look. I bet you if we isolate the last 8 games,
he's at 24 a game now. Oh no, sorry, he's at 22. You're right.
Yeah. But let's just look at the last real quickly.
It's weird. It's weird that he's only at 24 for his career now, with all the points he scored.
Oh, really? For the career?
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, that is kind of crazy. Let's see here. The last 8 games, it's a little bit better. He's been scoring 25 a game, and he's shooting about 39%, but he's shooting 40 from three. So he's been a lot better last 8 games, at least from three. And that's perked up his numbers a bit, and a lot of assists. So, yeah, I mean, the other guys are getting better, and the Clippers have been playing better, so that's been good to see. But let's go back to the Will Hardy timeout. Did you see what happened against the Lakers?
No, tell me more.
By the way, the Daigneault thing, which also was concerning at the end of the game, they ended up running out of timeouts, and when they were down by, I want to say 3 with 2 seconds to go, and they had to just throw it in and chuck it up. First of all, they let the Rockets dribble out the clock an extra 10 seconds before they fouled. That's on Daigneault. That's a really bad. I don't know what the miscommunication was. And he's a good coach, but that can't happen. You shouldn't see that with this team. Far in 20 games in the season. And then he called a needless timeout after Jabari Smith hit a little mid-range to put him up by 2 with 34 seconds left. It was a desperation. The shot clock was about to expire. It wasn't like you needed to stop any kind of momentum. And he used the timeout there. They didn't have one at the end. So those are 2 big mistakes that can cost your team. So let's just I want to make sure that was clear for Daigneault. Now, on the Will Hardy thing, supposedly, so if you didn't see it, the Jazz were down by 1, and what's her face? The point guard is dancing on the top. Who went from
Colin Sexton?
Sorry, I'm going to trade from Cleveland. From Sexton is dancing on top, and then apparently in Hardy's defense, he tried to call a timeout then when he was doing a retreat dribble toward the half-court line. Loud, they didn't see it, whatever. Sexton goes right to the hoop and scores. But they give him a timeout just before he starts to go into the motion to shoot. So it looks like the timeout interrupted what would have been the game-winning shot, but AZ kind of stops playing just before he shoots it, and he was right there. He probably blocks it, probably offers a lot of pressure. If he doesn't block it, though, and it gets to the rim and it misses, what's his face, who AD was guarding, is there for the tip in. They're really good big man who's not tall. Oh, my God, the names are escaping me.
Walker Kessler?
Kessler, thank you. Kessler would have been there to tip it in. So you have all these different woulda, couldas. And that's tough. Now, if I were the coach, I would not have called the timeout anyway. Why let him set up? Once you get under like 6 seconds, it's like let him go, because now the defense is going to be set. You're trying to do an offense out of bounds, not a lot of time. So that was not great. But then again, they obviously are trying to tank, because I have to imagine they think that the Duke Cooper Flagg would look really good in a Utah Jazz uniform, which I would have to agree.
Oh yeah, I mean, if Utah's definitely tanking for Cooper. That's for sure.
Yeah. Is
yeah.
Cooper Flagg going to be a better player than Kirilenko?
That's the comparisons I'm hearing. Defensively, I can see the comparisons. I think there is a chance that, he could get his handle might be better eventually. Like his bag, if you will, could get better because we see flashes of it at times. But the shooting has to get better. I mean, we're in a different NBA now where you want a player like that to, knock down threes at a high clip. What was Kirilenko's percentage from three when he played in the league?
I think he got decent from there at the end, but we already know Cooper Flagg's a better passer. He's got better feel offensively, I think, at this point anyway. I would say AK-47 played better defense and will probably always be playing better defense than Cooper Flagg will get. So, you know what? Now I talked myself out of that comparison completely. I don't think that there's a good comparison there at all. But if you want to know Cooper Flagg, I'm kind of curious what he's shooting from three right now and how many he's taking. So right now he's shooting under 27%, and he's taking about 4 a game. That's not great, and we were concerned because he kind of shoots it from the side of his head, and the rhythm wasn't great for him. So I would like to think that he's going to improve upon that and get there, because if he can do that, then he'll be I mean, I think he's going to be absolutely terrific, obviously, wherever he goes. But it seems like, yes, Utah would really be incentivized to pick him up or to get him in the draft.
I wonder if other teams, if they get the number 1 pick, I wonder if he's consensus number 1 by all NBA GMs. That's the interesting question.
I would think so until somebody else, really explodes in the scene, which they haven't yet. As far as I know, I haven't paid attention enough to college, but I think I would have heard of any other clear consensus, the guy leapfrogging over him. So, I mean, he's got such great feel, and he's always in the right spot at the right time. And I think that if he got on the floor with 4 other pros, you're going to see another jump there. But he's got to improve the 3-point shooting mechanics. Go
ahead. Ace Bailey's a guy that
That's true. Eyes on him. So DTG, thank you so much. I think this looks familiar and unfamiliar to me in a way that we have a bunch of rookies joining the conversation. How exciting. Thank you so much, DTG. Regarding the Rockets, more of a combo guard than Duncan, but Anthony Simons is potential trade target for 3-point shooting. Now you're getting somewhere, because you have to imagine the Portland Trailblazers are going to do a fire sale. I would think. I mean, Simons is probably the guy that they wanted to build around, at least before. But maybe they've soured on him. I've always loved Anthony Simons' game. I think he's a killer.
Yeah, he's interesting. I feel like he likes the basketball a little bit more than Duncan, and that's why Duncan might fit better with Fred VanVleet.
Yeah.
And even, Amen plays like the 4-5, but he likes to initiate in kind of like a point forward type of role. And then Alfred Şengün is another guy who likes to initiate. So I kind of like the Duncan Robinson fit a little bit better, but Anthony Simons fits them like from their athletic perspective, like with Tari Eason and Amen Thompson. But I think they really need like movement shooting. Not saying Anthony Simons doesn't do that, but I think Duncan does it at a higher level.
I would agree with that. Yeah. So I think that you're right. It probably would fit better because, again, Simons and Green are kind of similar in that way in terms of how much they want to handle the ball. So that might not click as well. But they certainly need the 3-point shooting is a premium. They got to figure that out. Do they trade Jalen Green?
No.
Okay. You think he's kind of figured it out now and they're happy with him?
Yeah. I mean, he's part of the reason that they're winning this many games. I think like their young core is, they just signed them in the offseason. They extended both of them. I think it was for a reason. I don't think it was to trade them. I think it was to keep them.
Sure. I mean, but there is probably a player out there that they would trade Jalen Green for.
Who?
It would have to be like a really
not Duncan or Anthony Simons.
No, I mean, unless it was like Duncan and Hero or something. I don't know. That seems kind of crazy.
Yeah. Why would would he do that? Probably not.
Yeah. You don't think so? I think that he would be willing to kind of
Tyler Hero is a better player right now than Jalen Green. Right now?
He is.
Look at Tyler Hero's stats, Coach Nick. He's cooking.
That's 2 R's. Here we go. Let's see here. All right, let's see the stats. 24 points a game. 47% from the field, 41.9 from the 3-point line on 10 attempts per game, and then 5 assists. So yes, he's having a really good year. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I would trade him. I mean, look, Jalen Green does have a higher ceiling still, but I don't think I would make that trade.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So But I like that. I think Anthony is something possibility there, maybe somewhere. But it definitely feels like then Duncan Robinson would be the guy they would target. But we don't know. We don't know. Are you everything okay back there? Yeah.
Always working. Always trying to find ways to get better, Coach Nick. You know.
All right. All right. All right. Well, let's see here. Anything else we want to finish with?
No, I thought that was good.
Yeah, I think it's good. We'll be back again next week.
Oh, well, last thing, Kyrie's been playing at all-star level as well with the Mavs.
Yeah, and the Mavs have not really missed Luka, I want to say. Let me check that one more time real quick. Let's see, Luka. Let's look at his game logs, right? So I've been keeping my eye on that a little bit. He's actually played in the last game they beat in Portland, but before that, he was out for 1, 2, 3, 5 in a row, and they won 4 of those. They beat Denver, they beat Atlanta, they beat the Knicks, and they beat Utah, which is not anything to hang your head on too much. But yeah, obviously that's going to unlock Kyrie. Maybe they're figuring some things out. What do you think? Are the Mavericks finally getting back to where we thought they were going to be?
I mean, they made the finals last year, so this is where they're supposed to be, right?
Yeah, I mean they're 8-2 in the last 10, so definitely worth checking back in on them and seeing. I'm kind of curious some of the other things that are popping up for them, but yeah, I mean they should be in the top 3 of the Western Conference, right? They should finish the season in the top 3.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, well we'll wrap it up then. And anyway, good stuff. Thank you all out there for the super chats, especially the guys who are new and to the conversation. Really appreciate it. And stay tuned for the Rockets video. Please watch it. I haven't done a Rockets video in a while, so I have no idea how well it's going to do, but it would be nice if it did well.
Shouts to Texas. Go check that out.
What's that?
Shouts to Texas. Go check that out.
Yeah. Texas, where are you, y'all? All right. Anything you want to shout out, Combo, before we leave?
Combo's Court dropped an episode today. COMBOS, COURT. We talk basketball.
Who's on your episode with you?
Wes Goldberg of Locked On Heat.
All right.
And Real GM Radio.
Nice. Are you on Blue Sky?
I am not.
What? Okay. I'm over on Blue Sky. I'm not really even on Twitter anymore. So head over to Blue Sky if you're not there yet. We're having good conversations. It's really nice. It's very pleasant. Definitely the place to be, not in the other place. So head over there. Follow me. Easy follow me. I'm on, this B-Ball Breakdown. In fact, I'm going to do a little thingy where I'm going to be able to have my instead of saying bballbreakdown.bluesky.app or whatever, or social, I'm going to have it say something b-ball breakdown. I'm going to do that fancy, whatever that is. So stay tuned for that. But either way, get over there. Let's have a conversation there. Let's get more interaction going on Blue Sky, get away from the other place. And it'll all be better. We'll be better humans.
Okay.
All right. Combo. Well, great to see you as always. We'll be back again next Monday. And don't forget, sports fans, at B-Ball Breakdown, we're not a channel, we're a conversation. You in? Are you in, Combo?
Yes, sir.